Hey everybody, Grummels here with episode 3 of the Turnfight Show, where I talk about War Thunder or War Thunder related topics while showing you some hopefully entertaining air combat footage. The first thing I want to talk about this time is a bit of a channel related announcement about HP mode. If you have watched my videos before, you know I play mostly AP. It fits my playstyle the most. But I have gotten a lot of requests lately to post some more historic battle footage as well. And while arcade is my personal favorite, I think the other modes are lots of fun too. So I decided to dedicate a day or two of the week to play HP matches, so that I can bring you some historic battle content as well. In what form, I am not sure yet. Of course, I do want to do some guides eventually, but I want to actually become good at the game mode and see what can really be done with the HP flight model before I do that. Till then, I will mix in some HP footage into the Turnfight Show videos, or maybe make some kind of historic battle highlights video. Now, in historic battles, I will most likely focus on one plane or plane series for the foreseeable future, because I think with the increased realism, it is beneficial to really learn one plane well, like the star characteristics, weapon ballistics, safe dive speeds and so on. I think for my playstyle it is quite important to be able to walk that line between turning as tight as the plane can without making it stall, and since the stall characteristics of planes are very different, it makes sense for me to specialize in one line of planes first, though I will try others for fun every now and then. Now, while I am not 100% sure yet, the plane I will most likely focus on in historic battles will be the BF-109, especially the F version, but also the Gs. One reason for choosing them is I always like the 109s in sims I have played so far. I think it's a well-rounded plane, a good energy fighter, but can also turn fight well with the combat flaps extended. The other reason, when using them in arcade mode with direct control methods, the 109, especially the F, suffer from an exaggerated instability, in the forums commonly known as the wobble, which makes this plane less fun to play in arcade with direct control. Now, I cannot spot this problem in FRB or historic mode. In those modes I find the 109 very enjoyable to fly. So, since the 109 are not as fun for me in AB, it makes sense to choose them as my primary plane in historic battles. Now, that leads me to the next point I want to talk about in this video. Since it appears a few YouTube videos, like the ones made by Oz for example, and I'd like to think also my own, have sparked a bit of interest in joystick control, I would like to talk a little bit more about joysticks in War Thunder, and give you a bit of an update on the wobble problem in arcade and so on. First of all, I want to say again, I think all control methods are viable in both arcade and historic modes, and all have their own set of advantages and disadvantages. If a control method provides you with the gaming experience you are looking for, it is viable. Use the one you have the most fun with. I have said this once before, but since some people reacted almost aggressively last time I claimed the joysticks is viable, I thought it is best to say it again. Now, the wobble problem. I have talked a little bit about that when we still had 1.29, and I'd like to give you a bit of an update of how it looks in 1.31, as well as some infos about it. First of all, I personally have this problem only in arcade mode. As of 1.31, in FRB as well as historic mode, all planes behave the way I expect them to. Now, in arcade mode, however, many planes, like the 109F, show this exaggerated instability and take a very long time to stabilize after even gentle maneuvering. This problem is still present in arcade mode in 1.31, even though there are some improvements. The Spitfires, for example, are much better now. I have asked the devs about this in the Q&A and PMs, and I was told that they will look into it. The problem is most likely related to some of the changes the game makes to the flight model in AB mode, and I have a theory of what the cause of this problem might be. This is of course just a guess, and I can't know if I'm right about it without more information on what the changes done in this mode really are. Anyway, to me it feels that on the affected planes, the vertical and horizontal stabilizers are less effective in AB mode than they should be. I could imagine that something like this might be done to help boost the maneuverability of the planes in question in AB. Less effective stabilizers could achieve that, though it would also lead to the observed stability problems. But again, this is just a guess of mine, and I might be completely wrong. And of course, not all planes are affected by this problem. All the Japanese work perfectly fine, even in arcade, and also most of the British fighters work well in 1.31. Now, with that wobble info out of the way, I would like to give a few basic tips to players that are new to joysticks and want to try them in War Thunder. First of all, be patient. As with all new input methods, it will take some time to build up the necessary muscle memory. So it needs to be clear from the start that you might need some time to see results. Going in some test flights and trying some aerobatics, low-level flying and simulated strafing runs help to get a feeling before you go into a real battle. Since a lot of people say that arcade is the worst mode for joysticks, and because of what I just said about the wobble, this might surprise you, but I think the best mode to start with joysticks is arcade. The reason is that in this mode you can concentrate on learning the control method itself and build up the set muscle memory. In historic battles you also have to prevent stalling, no spin recovery and so on. This might prove challenging to someone that is new to the input device. As I have said, I would suggest that you at first focus on using the Japanese fighters, as well as some of the British, like the Hawker Hurricane or Typhoon, or lower tier US Navy fighters, like the Buffalo and Wildcat, since they are very stable, and keep using mouse for unstable planes like the 109F, Bowfighter or Lex 3 for example. Now I can't tell you much about specific axis and sensitivity setup, since I personally was satisfied with the way the game set it up after I used the control wizard, and I have not changed it since. But there are numerous threads about axis and sensitivity tweaks on the joystick section of the War Thunder forum with tips about this. And try to use the target follow cam as much as possible. The rest is mostly practice. Well, that's it for this episode. I hope you liked it, thanks for watching, and maybe I see you next time.